In December 2014, 4 skilled cave divers decided to go on an exciting 80-minute dive in the Kalimba Cenote, which is a deep underwater cave in Mexico. They were looking forward to exploring the beautiful cave and having a great time together. However, things didn't go as planned. Something went terribly wrong during their dive, and they found themselves in a life-threatening situation. Despite their best efforts to help each other and find a way out, only 2 of the divers managed to survive the ordeal. The other 2 tragically lost their lives in the cave. It was a shocking and heartbreaking outcome that no one had expected when they began their thrilling adventure that day. This is the fatal story of the Kalimba diving accident. Cave diving is very dangerous and can be deadly if you're not properly trained. It takes a lot of practice, knowledge, and special skills to do it safely. The divers in this story knew the risks because they had taken many classes and had certifications to prove their abilities. Even with all their preparation, accidents can still happen in the challenging underwater environment of caves. The tragic dive happened in December 2014 while the group was on vacation in Mexico. There were 4 people in the group, made up of 2 married couples. Gene and Bill Downey were one couple, and their friends Kent Hirth and Michael Nast were the other couple. The Downeys had the most experience with cave diving. They had done over 300 cave dives and had been certified for almost 30 years. That means they had special training and permission to do cave diving for a very long time. Kent and Michael were also experienced divers, but not quite as much as the Downeys. Kent had done 125 dives, and Michael had done 75 dives. They had also been certified for a long time, over 20 years each. So all 4 of them knew a lot about diving and had been doing it for many years. The dive plan, the divers wanted to check out the Kalimba Cenote, which is a big underwater cave that's part of the even bigger Sac-Acton system. The Sac-Acton system has a whopping 208 miles of tunnels that have been mapped out. To explore the cave safely, they divided into 2 groups. Team 1 had a professional guide leading them and was made up of divers who could breathe more efficiently underwater. Their job was to go into the cave first and put markers on the guidelines to show the way for the second team. Team 2, which had the Downeys, Kent, and Michael in it, would follow behind Team 1, using the markers to help them navigate through the cave tunnels. Every diver had a tank on their back filled with air to breathe underwater. They followed a special rule called the rule of thirds to stay safe. This means they use 1/3 of their air to swim in, 1/3 to swim out, and save the last third just in case something goes wrong and they need extra air. When the divers went underwater into the clear waters of the cenote, the first team swam through the main tunnels. As they explored, they placed special markers called personal non-directional markers, or cookies, along the lines. These markers helped show the way for the second team and let them know where the first team had gone. Team 2 swam along, following the markers that Team 1 had left for them. They were enjoying the beautiful sights of the underwater caves, which were calm and peaceful. Bill Downey, one of the divers in Team 2, had a special camera that could take pictures underwater. He used it to capture the amazing views of the cave. As they swam, the divers in Team 2 had to go through some tight spaces called restrictions. They were very careful and took their time going through these narrow areas to make sure they stayed safe. Eventually, they got to the end of the Kalimba line, which was one of the main paths in the cave. From there, they were supposed to switch to another path called the Paso del Laro line. At this point, they should have checked how much air they had left and turned around to head back out of the cave. But something went wrong. Instead of turning right to go back the way they came, all 4 divers in Team 2 turned left. They swam for 1,400 feet, which is a really long way, before they realized they had made a big mistake. By this time, they were running out of air in their tanks. Kent, one of the divers, tried to find another way out. He attached his safety line to the end of the Paso main line and started looking for the Grand Cenote main line, hoping it would lead them to an exit. But his safety line wasn't long enough, and he had to go back to the group. While this was happening, Michael, another diver in Team 2, knew they were in big trouble. He decided to turn around and try to make it back out of the cave before his air ran out. Gene and Bill Downey saw Michael leaving and noticed that Kent wasn't with the group anymore. They had a tough choice to make, but they decided to follow Michael and go back the way they had come, hoping to make it out safely. The tragic outcome. As Gene and Bill Downey finally surfaced from the depths of the Kalimba Cenote, they were greeted by the bright sunshine and fresh air. However, their relief was short-lived as they realized their air tanks were nearly empty. They had barely made it out alive. Exhausted and disoriented, Gene and Bill looked around, expecting to see their friends Kent and Michael emerge from the water behind them. But as the minutes ticked by, a sinking feeling grew in their hearts. Where were Kent and Michael? The Downies waited anxiously, hoping against hope that their friends had simply taken a different route out of the cave. But deep down, they knew something was terribly wrong. Kent and Michael were experienced divers, and they should have surfaced by now. With heavy hearts, Jean and Bill reported their friends missing to the local authorities. A search and rescue team was quickly dispatched to the cenote, but their efforts were in vain. After hours of searching the underwater labyrinth, they made a heartbreaking discovery. Kent and Michael's lifeless bodies were found just 250 feet from the exit of the cave. They had been so close to safety, but the unforgiving depths had claimed their lives. The news hit Jean and Bill like a ton of bricks. They were overwhelmed with grief, shock, and a sense of guilt. Why had they survived while their friends perished? As the tragic story unfolded, it became clear that Jean and Bill's survival was a result of several factors. Their extensive experience in cave diving had given them the skills and knowledge to navigate the treacherous underwater environment. They had remained calm under pressure and had made critical decisions that ultimately saved their lives. Another key factor was Jean's unique physiology. As a petite woman, she had a lower air consumption rate compared to the others. This meant that her air tank lasted longer, giving her and Bill a crucial advantage in their race against time. But even with these advantages, Jean and Bill's escape from the Kalimba cenote was a narrow one. They had pushed their limits to the brink of death, and they knew they were lucky to be alive. As they mourned the loss of their friends, Jean and Bill were left to grapple with the emotional aftermath of the tragedy. They replayed the events of that fateful day over and over in their minds, wondering if they could have done something differently to save Kent and Michael. In the end, the Kalimba cave tragedy serves as a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in cave diving. Even the most experienced and well-prepared divers can fall victim to the unforgiving nature of the underwater world. It is a stark lesson in the importance of caution, communication, and individual responsibility in the face of extreme challenges. The heartbreaking story of the Kalimba cave tragedy shows us just how dangerous cave diving can be, even for those who are highly skilled and well prepared. In this case, one wrong decision to turn left instead of right, combined with a few other mistakes, resulted in 2 divers losing their lives. This sad event highlights how crucial it is for each diver to take responsibility for their own safety, to communicate clearly with their team, and to make sure they mark their own way through the cave. It's a powerful reminder that even small errors can have life-changing consequences in such a risky environment. The story of the Kalimba cave tragedy is a sad and powerful reminder of just how risky cave diving can be. Even the most experienced and well-prepared divers can find themselves in life-threatening situations if something goes wrong. In this particular case, a group of highly skilled divers made a simple but fateful mistake. They turned left instead of right at a crucial point in the cave, and this one wrong turn, along with a few other errors in judgment, led to the tragic loss of 2 lives. This heartbreaking event shows us how important it is for every diver to take charge of their own safety. They need to communicate clearly with the other divers in their group and make sure everyone knows the plan. It's also essential for each diver to mark their own path through the cave so they can find their way back out safely. Cave diving is a thrilling but dangerous activity that requires a lot of skill, experience, and careful planning. Even small mistakes can quickly turn into life-threatening emergencies when you're deep underground in a complex cave system. The Kalimba cave tragedy is a sobering reminder that even the most prepared divers can face deadly consequences if they make a wrong decision or miscalculate. It emphasizes the need for constant vigilance, clear communication, and individual responsibility in this challenging and unforgiving environment. Thank you for watching, and remember, in the face of adversity, knowledge, preparation, and level-headedness can make all the difference. Stay safe and keep exploring. The Kalimba cave tragedy is a heartbreaking story of how a thrilling cave diving adventure turned into a nightmare. 4 experienced divers, 2 married couples, set out to explore the beautiful underwater caves in Mexico. Despite their skills and preparation, a single wrong turn and a series of mistakes led to the loss of 2 lives. Kent and Michael drowned just minutes away from the exit, while Jean and Bill Downey narrowly escaped death. This tragic event reminds us that even the most knowledgeable and prepared divers can face grave consequences in the unforgiving environment of underwater caves. What if they had marked their own paths or if they had communicated more clearly with each other. These are questions that will haunt the survivors forever. If you found this story interesting and would like to hear more tales of adventure, survival, and the lessons we can learn from them, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking the subscribe button. I promise to bring you more videos like this, so you should definitely check out the next one.